Hey everybody, it's Frank Niekamp. I'm actually going to share some best practices with you all tonight as it relates to using video conferencing in my favorite app, Zoom, which by now I'm guessing most of you started using and have begun to familiarize yourself with. And if not, you're looking to still get onboarded and familiarize yourself maybe with some controls that you haven't yet figured out how to use. This is a video that I think you're going to enjoy watching. One of the biggest opportunities with Zoom is that you can continue to have meetings with your clients and prospects. And that might continue to be an ongoing challenge as businesses get back to hopefully work here in the next few weeks. The big question remains is, are they going to allow visitors into their buildings, or are we going to have to continue to communicate with each other in B2B sales capacities through video conferencing? My guess is that probably the latter is true. So pay attention. This might be the new normal for the foreseeable future, and some of these skills and tips that you're going to hear will be very beneficial to you. My first suggestion to you is you're probably going to notice above me here that I've got my own virtual background, and I was able to achieve that by going into the features where you see the video, and if you saw my cursor, I selected on that up arrow, and I have saved some images to my Zoom application. Everything from the basic Sales Star logo that you see above me. And if you wanted to choose no background, well, you would see that I'm actually sitting in front of a white sheet. The reason I chose to sit in front of a white sheet is because it makes the virtual background much more consistent and uniform. If you're on a Zoom and you see somebody who looks all squiggly and their body kind of comes and goes, it's because the uniformity of the background has too many different colors or levels of contrast to project a consistent image against. There are other preset images. I could act like I'm sitting in a boardroom, which I'm not. But the one I'm choosing right now is SalesStar because that's the company that I'm a global partner for. So a little bit of branding opportunity if you choose a virtual background, as well as eliminating the distractions of whatever might be in your at home or at work environment that, quite frankly, the people that you're talking to don't need to see. Anyway, really basic and simple stuff. You can choose to add different images if you don't like the ones that Zoom provides you with by clicking on this little button here, and it'll search on for pictures on your computer that you can select and choose. So have at it. It's a lot of fun and can potentially give you a much more professional look overall. The other thing that I think is a tremendous opportunity for new users to get familiarized with is learning how to share screens, especially if you're having a presentation with a potential client. In this particular instance, when I hit share screen, a lot of options and choices came up in addition to a whiteboard. If I wanted to use a whiteboard and actually take notes or communicate notes with the person I'm speaking to, I have that option, as well as it provides me options of all of the other windows that I currently have open and running. So over here you can see I have a PowerPoint application open, and I'm going to choose to share my PowerPoint. At which point the participants on the other end of the Zoom conversation can now see whatever I see. If I want to stop, I simply hit stop share, and they'll no longer see my PowerPoint, which is important because I may or may not want them to see things that are going on my computer. Now, an additionally awesomely cool feature that I use is the opportunity to record these meetings. And I might want to play them back, listen to how I sounded, how I looked. And there are two options with my Zoom account. I can record to the cloud, which is storing this at Zoom, or I can record this video on my computer, which in this particular case, I just prefer to send it to the cloud. Doesn't use up any of the storage space on my computer. And when the recording is done and processed, Zoom will send me a link, which I can then choose to review it. So anyway, some really good best practices around putting the virtual background together and how to do that. sharing your screen, how to do that. There's some higher level features that I will review on another video with you, but those are the two main. The other thing I really want to emphasize that when you're doing video conferencing is notice that the scale and the proportion of my face is relatively similar to what somebody would experience if they were sitting across the table from me, and that's ideal. You don't want to be that person who's sitting so far back from the camera that it feels like the person's talking to somebody across the room. Again, we want to make this as realistic as possible, and the lighting is something that you want to make sure you also get right so that you can, one, enjoy, I guess, the conversation that you're having with the other person, and more importantly, they're enjoying the conversation with you. So lighting, distance from the camera, and last but not least, get your position or your height right. A lot of times I've gotten on these Zooms and it feels like I'm looking up at somebody's nose because their chair is so much higher than their camera. And if you have an adjustable height chair, the best way to do that is to make sure you get the height right. So hopefully this feels like a natural conversation to you. Um, Again, a couple of tips that I think you should use as far as best practice when it comes to doing your own video conferences with customers and prospects. Hope you enjoyed these tips tonight and are able to use them in your own meetings. Thanks so much for listening, and make it a great night.